Behind the mighty walls of Hyrule Castle lived Zelda, the Princess of Hyrule. Her sleep had been troubled by bad dreams, dreams she was certain meant something. When she slept, she saw dark clouds forming over the land of Hyrule that blocked out the sun. But when all light had vanished, a brilliant green beam shone out of the forest and chased away the clouds. She was certain that the dark clouds were Ganondorf, the sorcerer from the desert that had come to meet with her father. She had told the king of her dreams, but he would not listen. Hyrule was at peace, and as far as he was concerned, Zelda's dreams meant that she should not eat so soon before bed. But the princess was sure that they were real, and she was sure that the beam of light in her dream meant that the hero of Hyrule would come from the forest. So one day, when the castle was at its busiest, she dressed in servant's clothes and snuck out of the castle, hoping to find the hero from her dreams in Hyrule Castle Town. Zelda made her way past the gates and guards to the town and arrived on a market day. All the shops were open, and many people from the countryside had come to buy and sell. The princess was certain that the hero would be here on such a busy day, and she began to search for him. But as she looked, she realized there were many castle guards patrolling the streets who might recognize her, even in the servant's clothes she was wearing. Ducking into an alley to avoid a patrol of guards, she spotted a store selling masks. A mask would be the perfect thing to hide her face, but she realized that she hadn't brought any rupees with her from the castle. She sighed and got ready to go on her way when she felt a tap on her shoulder. Zelda turned around and saw a boy wearing a green tunic, holding out a white mask with one big red eye on it. She told the boy she didn't have any way to pay for it, but he said that she could have it for free if she wanted. The boy in green disappeared into the crowd as Zelda thanked him. With the white mask on, she walked out into the streets to look for the hero without worrying about being recognized. At one end of the town square, a great cheering crowd had gathered around a pile of split logs. A camp of lumberjacks had brought in a load of wood from the forest, and were in the middle of a contest to see who could split a cord of wood the fastest. Their axes flashed as their mighty arms swung them down onto the logs, cutting them in two with one swing. The crowd cheered louder and louder as the lumberjacks worked, and they let out a tremendous hurrah when one man finished well ahead of the others. He raised his axe and the purse of rupees he had won in the air, and Zelda was certain she had found her hero. Not only was he from the forest, but she was certain that he could make short work of Ganondorf and his monsters with his axe. As the crowd broke apart, Zelda followed the lumberjack to find a place to tell him about her dreams. The lumberjack walked down the street, whistling and tossing his purse of rupees up and down when he was approached by a blind beggar asking for alms. The lumberjack laughed and pushed him out of the way, saying that he had earned his money and that the beggar should learn from his example. Zelda saw that the lumberjack was no hero. Heroes were supposed to be kind and generous, not greedy bullies. She stopped following him and turned back to the market to find the true hero. On her way back to the town square, she saw the boy in green again, carrying a little white dog in his arms. He brought it to an old woman who shouted with glee and hugged the dog, scolding it for running away. She thanked the boy in green for bringing her precious pet back to her and patted him on the head. He waved at Zelda when he saw her mask and she waved back, but she didn't have time to talk to him and she hurried off to find the real hero. The smell of cooking meat wafted through the air from a great bonfire at one end of the town square. Around the fire were a great many pelts of huge beasts, giant bears and boars whose meat was roasting on the fire. There was a hunter with a huge bow walking around the fire, telling tales of how he'd slain the beast single-handedly with his mighty bow. With each new tale he told, Zelda was sure that he was the hero. Not only was he of the forest, but he could probably slay Ganondorf and his monsters with an arrow before they even knew he was there. She waited until he sold all the meat and all the pelts to tell him about her dreams, but before she could, an old shepherd stepped in front of her. He told the hunter that a wolf was killing his flock, and that he would give the hunter all he had if he would slay the creature. The hunter laughed at him and said that his trade was slaying important beasts, not chasing after every mangy wolf in Hyrule. He sent the shepherd away to find some lesser hunter to do the job for him. Zelda saw that the hunter was no true hero. Heroes would help anyone in need, no matter how small the task. She left the hunter and made her way back to the castle. Night was falling, and if she stayed out much longer, someone would discover that she was missing. Zelda went around the back door of the castle, and there was the boy in green again, shaking hands with the man who delivered the castle's milk. The man thanked him for waking him up and said that if he hadn't, he would have slept there all night and left his poor daughter all alone in town. The delivery man raced off, while the boy knelt down and crawled into a drain pipe coming out of the wall. Zelda wondered just what the boy in green was doing here, but she yawned and decided to wonder about it tomorrow. As she was making her way back to her chambers, Zelda saw a knight in full armor walking down the hall. Her eyes lit up when she saw that he had a tree drawn on his shield. Her dream made sense. The trees had not meant the forest, but the tree that this knight had as his symbol. A well-trained and noble knight could stand up to any evil spell or monster Ganondorf could bring against him. She rushed over to the knight and told him that she needed his help, but he pushed her to the side and scoffed. He said that he was a knight, not some errand boy, and that if she wanted help, she should go find a butler. Zelda did not know what he meant, but then she realized she was still wearing servant's clothing. She returned to her bedroom and changed into her royal dress, glad she had asked him dressed as a maid. She knew the knight was no hero. Heroes would help anyone, no matter who they were. She returned to her garden to be alone and think. She had searched all day and found no hero. Perhaps her father was right. Perhaps her dreams had really meant nothing. A twig snapped behind her and Zelda spun around. Standing before her was the boy in green from the market. Zelda gasped and remembered how he had given her the mask, how he had found the dog for the old lady, and how he had helped the delivery man outside the castle. She asked if he had come from the forest. When he answered yes, she knew that for all her searching, the hero had found her instead.